All right, welcome everybody to the Thursday night modifying your PBS class. It's such a fantastic thing that we do here every Thursday night. We're going to be changing the format a little bit. You're going to be hearing new voices and you're going to get to know and meet and listen to different parts of our leadership. Roy and Tanya had a fantastic idea and we're going to just be rotating. You're going to have different MSIs teaching the Thursday night class. Whether it's 1 week or the whole month, I don't know yet. We're going to be working on that calendar and schedule. Miss Tanya will figure that out. But tonight, we're going to start off with one of our well-known instructors because she teaches extra classes on other days also. And she does so much to help so many people. And I've had the pleasure of meeting her just this last weekend. She's a wonderful soul and a vibrant and outgoing person who just has a ton of passion for what we do and loves teaching this whole PBS system, everybody. She's one of our master senior instructors, Miss Sheila Matchett. Thank you so very much for being our first MSI in the new rotation. The microphone is yours. I'm eager to listen like everybody else.
Well, thank you. I'm going to do my best. I got some big shoes to fill. Literally and figuratively. But I will do my best. And I do love to teach. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I do this business full time. I have been doing it now for the past year. It is a wonderful thing to do. I love to teach. So when Rory asked me to do this 2 years ago, I was like, great. This will be my third year. Actually, March is my third year anniversary on the 18th. Time goes by fast. So I will do my best to fill it up. I'm used to teaching 2 hours, so I got to constrict myself to 1. But I do have my notes. I am a writer. I come from old school, so pen and pad goes with me everywhere. I like to write things down. I just think that the memory holds it better when you write it down. So I did homeschool my children all the way through high school. Once they got into 9th and 10th grade, they decided they wanted to go to school. So they did. When they did that, I actually did online classes while I was teaching them, and I got 2 degrees while I was there. I also have a nursing degree, so I am a registered nurse. Although my license is expired, I didn't agree with the government being into the healthcare business, so I got out. But I still retain all that education. My grandmother told me when I was 8 years old that I was going to teach the world, and I didn't believe her, but look where I'm at now. So I guess she knew what she was talking about. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go back to basics. We've discovered that there's a lot of people that's been here for a while that's missing just a step here and there. And we're going to do things just go from the beginning, from the basics, start with number 1. So we're going to introduce you to a PBS. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. So let me know if you can see this.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So this is mine. I'm going to use mine as so you can see what a finished PBS looks like. My PBS is never finished. It's always a work in progress. As you can see, I have 302 pages with 270 active pages. I write a lot. I really do. I love my PBS. It's cathartic for me to write. I love research. We have so many tools available to us. You can see organization. Tanya's been teaching a series of classes on organization. I organize all the time. So I even have my Zoom classes, organized. I have my training classes organized, my marketing, even my personal business information, all of my ad sites, my social media marketing, any web enhancements that I need, like my Canva, my Jaxie, my Google AdSense, all of it's right here for me to be able to get to in a click. So that's one of the things you need to make sure you have, so you're not looking all over the place. I know a lot of my students, when I first got them, their desktop was loaded. They had to find everything. So you want to make sure that your desktop's clean and everything is in a file that's easily accessible. So we're going to start with this. So your website, most of you have never worked with a website. So we're just going to go over some basic mechanics. You're going to always go into your dashboard to work. I teach my students to work from their pages. Some instructors and most of the, Rory says to go through your category pages. Either one is great. I just like to go through, because I'm so OCD, I like to go from pages and go 1, 2, 3, 4 down. One of the things that you want to make sure of is when you get your website, you got to remember this is going to be an extension of your personality. It's going to be an extension of you. So you want to be thinking of your name for your website. You know, you want to go and think of how you're going to represent yourself in writing. So that's one of the things you want to think about. Once you get started with editing your pages, your instructor will be able to come and show you how to go in and change that name. But you want to make sure that it's something that's relatable, something that's easy to remember. My husband and I have been together since high school. He's 6'5". They always called him Chief. We've been together forever, so they always called me Mama Chief. That's what everybody knows me as. So when I got my website, it was just automatic. I knew what it was going to be called. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about that. And then according to our site, you want to go to your training, which is our RRR247.com/RR. We also have the master program, but this shows you step-by-step on how you can go through and modify your pages. The one thing that you want to make sure that you do is don't skip a step. You kind of get lost if you do. So you want to make sure that you are in hand with your instructor to go through these steps. When you get to your step 2, where you have to go to your second set of affiliates, make sure that you get with your instructor. Don't necessarily click them off of the training page unless you are Rory's personal instructor. So always get with your instructor to make sure that you have those second set of anchors. So we're going to go through. I have one of my students that has volunteered his site or her site. And we're going to go through, and the first thing you're going to do, and I'm going to go through the website, and you're going to go through your category menu. And this will be in your first training with your instructor. And you're going to go to your cooking, food, and wines category. And you're going to come through and you're going to do your fine wines. So once you get there, you're going to see your fine wines page. Now, the one thing that a lot of people forget to do, especially those of you that are getting ready to get your Google AdSense, is you forget to change your images. So one of the things that I do a little bit different is I tell from the beginning once you get into your edit mode, is to get rid of all of your images. Start with the clean slate. It just makes it easier. Get rid of all of your links, unless it's your instructor's link, but get rid of all of your images. It just makes it a little bit easier to not so much go in and try to remember, okay, there's a picture there, I have to work on that picture, so get your distractions out of the way. And that's one of the things you want to get out of the way is your images. So that's one of the first things I do is I go through and I say, let's get rid of all of your images and start with a clean slate. There's one of the things about, I got my Google AdSense in 6 weeks after of getting my site. I actually revamped my site twice in 6 weeks. Didn't like it the first time when my mom told me I was crazy. She didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. And I did. And I got Google AdSense on immediately. But it's all me. There's things in there, personal things. I have shopping things. I have things in there, that people can relate to. Not all of my pages are sales pages, which is perfectly okay. Not all of my pages have links in them. Some of them are just there for, just information because I am a researcher. So once you get all of that done, then the next thing I do is I read my content. So you need to be able to read your content so you know what's there. And then you do the same thing that we've always done. You start paragraph by paragraph. And the reason I say read your content is because sometimes you'll get to the bottom and what's there might actually work better for you up front or at the top or in the middle based on what you are writing or how you've modified it. You don't need to write like Paul. You don't need to write like Rory. You don't need to write like me. You need to write like you, like you're talking to your best friend, your parents, your relatives, somebody that you're acquainted with, that you're very close to, that you basically can tell anything to. You want to be very comfortable in your writing. You don't have to sit there and sell through your writing. You just want to be yourself. And once you read your content, then you can pretty much see where the page is going and gear your conversation basically towards that page. It just makes it easier for me. Since I've done this page like a million times, I know what it says. So the first thing I want to do is anything that looks like this, you always want to see your preview. It's going to be a video. Leave your videos in there because they are geared. Rory has them set to where everything is where it doesn't go to something else. It has a code in there that's protected. So it just stays here. It doesn't advertise somebody else's product or go to somebody else's YouTube channel. So keep your videos, but you can move them back and forth, up and down to different locations. Okay, so we're going to go and see all of our videos, see what there's there. There's our lovely Tanya and Rory. Beautiful couple, beautiful couple. Can't say enough about them. All right, so one of the things you want to see is as you're editing, and you'll see this little code right here. It's going to pop up on various occasions. It's just a glitch in the coding system. For whatever reason, it couldn't decode the $ or the %. It thought it was another code. So just go in and change that. It makes it really simple. You want to change that code and then always update as soon as you get that code changed. The other thing is I notice a lot of people do is you have your pages in your blocks. So you always want to come to your page. And the minute you start editing or modifying a page, you want to come to this publish date and change it to your current date. All right, you don't want to have a date here that's before you actually got your PBS. Since we all have copies of the original, even the page and the published dates are copies. You don't want to go in and say, oh, I forgot to change it, and then change all your dates to the same date and time. That is not kosher with Google. So you want to make sure that you go in and change it. You don't have to change it but one time. It's the original time that you actually start working on it. So we're going to come in here and change this to 4 in March and 2021. And then look at your times, okay? Sometimes, because we have different time zones, if you're, putting this in and say this was a PM, it would put it in the future. And then you'll be like, where's my page? I can't find it. So you always want to make sure that you're well aware of the time. If it's a past time, that's fine. But I always try to keep it as close to what it is as possible. And then PM. So now my times change and I update that. And now I never have to worry about this date again. And then it also helps you when you are doing your modifications and you come to a page and you're like, well, I don't know if I've touched it or not. I always tell my students, if you forget if you've touched it, do it again. You've probably changed thought patterns, life's changed, things got in, you got a different perspective. Go ahead and change it again and then look at your date. If your date is not a current date or it's not a date than when you were originally started, change your date to your new date that you remodified it. If it's a date after you've gotten in, then leave it and just rework your page. So we're going to start and we do paragraph by paragraph. Like I said, you have short paragraphs that's here. You want to modify your title first, but you want to keep, this is one of the pages that we're going to keep the same. The keyword is going to stay the same. So we have fine wines. I have Jaxie, so we're going to go to Jaxie and see what other key phrases we can use for fine wines. So we're going to do fine wines. Oh, I don't want to do site ranking. I know what my site ranking is. I play with mine a lot. And this is also a good way. You can get 30 free searches. There's also a paid program. I get the paid program. But this is one of those ways that you can come in here and find good, not only search words, but titles. I use search words and phrases for titles and bullet points for all of my pages. So we're going to go through and see fine wines is a good keyword. So that's why we're keeping it. So we're going to look for maybe a possible title. Here's fine wines investment. I don't want to use anything with investments. Buy fine wines online. That sounds like a good one. Buy fine wines online. Okay, so we can do that one. I'm going to come back here. This one says fine wines delivered to your door, and we're going to do fine wines buy online. Okay. And the reason I left fine wines is because it's part of your SEO down at the bottom. Whatever your key phrase is, it needs to be at the beginning of your title. It also needs to be at the beginning of your first sentence of your paragraph. So we're going to look at this, and you're going to come up here and you're just going to click down so that you have an opening paragraph that you can start off with. And you're going to click on your plus, and it's going to give you the option to do paragraphs. If you don't see what you're looking for, hit browse all. It will open up all the rest of the options that you have to choose from, and just find the one that you're looking for. So in our text, we're going to do paragraph. So I'm going to click on paragraph. And we're going to start by just basically, like I said, read the information that's there, see what you can use, what you can't use. If it doesn't sound like you, don't worry about it. You want it to sound like you. You do not have to use every piece of content that is in the page. It's there for you to get general information from. If you are experienced in wine, then perfect. You can use your own information there. You can use your own experiences, your own techniques, but this is just for general information. I don't drink wine. When I got in, I didn't know a thing about wine. So this page was very instrumental in helping me create it. I also did lots of research to find out about wines. When I won the trip to Napa Valley with the wine company, the questions I asked went into my pages. It was part of my research, but the people there, I think I was the only one there that didn't drink. So they was trying to figure out how I won a trip for a wine company. Rory told them to leave me alone. So they did. So we did fine wines. All right. So basically, I just put these two paragraphs right here, and you can do red or white. If you want to put that in there, that's fine. I did. I just said, hey, you got fine wines. It's just a click away. So I basically combined these two. It said our incredible wine club or wine of the month club. You can put that in there. I just said it's a click away. We have the ability to get your wines. We can actually put that in there. And we can say, all right, so I have these two right here. They're done. It basically says the same thing in one. So I got rid of this. So then once you come in here, you're just going to click on this and get rid of that block. And you're going to come down here and get rid of this block and clean up as you go. Okay, now the reason I put this first paragraph here, you want to make sure that you always give them an option to go immediately to whatever you're offering. So your first paragraph should be a little bit of an introduction with an immediate click option or buy option, however you want to market it. And the reason being is you do have those people that know about wines. They're just like, okay, I don't need to read about it. I don't need to know what you say. I just want to get what I came here for. So you want to give them that option. Hey, you go ahead and take care of what you need to take care of. So your first paragraph should have a small introduction of what you're talking about, along with the ability to go ahead and buy their product. Then from there, you can leave this here, and I'll show you how to move that in a second. Again, there's another, I call it a knee-jerk reaction. They know what they're doing. They want to keep going. So you have the option to leave this there or not. I take it out because I have my click button here. So then from here, we're going to modify this one. This is a really old student, got a restarted today. So they have an old one, but we do market around the globe. We can't ship wine around the globe, but we do have the option to market around the globe. We're giving them the opportunity to share wines. Okay, global opportunity, here's the call. So the thing that I'm looking at is it looks like this video would look great right here for the presentation. So once you click on your video, you will be able to move it. I'm hoping I can move it. This one may not move. Yeah, so you have these options. So I'm going to move this video down to where I want it for the presentation. All right. So then I'm going to move this information here. All right. I know I'm not going to use this because I already did it. I'm going to take that out. And then start marketing. So this one is talking about, like I said, wine around the globe, presentation, and there's some information here, Wine in the Month Club, novice. So all this is talking about global wines. So it looks like some of my stuff disappeared. No, it didn't. There it is. Okay. So we're going to come here and we're going to start with a new paragraph. But since I changed my tactics or my purpose, I'm going to come in here and talk about marketing. I'm going to do a header. And do my heading. And you're going to see it automatically pops up as a heading too. The heading one is reserved for your title only. It's not to say you can't use it, but if you do use an H1 in your page, you're going to get a little notification in your SEO that you used an H1. So an H2 is really good for your pages. You don't really need an H1. So I'm going to put here, and we're going to get this paragraph up here that we were just looking at. okay? So again, I'm talking about the presentation. I'm talking about, you know, wines around the world. We have great different, you know, things that we can do. And I'm going to actually talk about this every month and then talk about wine novices. Y'all have to excuse my, if you hear baby crying, my grandson is a little upset. Okay. So I did our global marketing of fine wines. And again, once you read the page, you might want to put this towards the bottom. This is one of these, what I call in your face type of marketing. Hey, you know what we have? We have a wine in a month club. We can market it anywhere. I'm going to show it to you first, and then we're going to show you what the benefits of it are. So again, you want to read it, see how to your discretion, how you want your page to flow based on your personality and how you would present it. So I got rid of this already. So we're going to get rid of this paragraph. And we're going to get rid of this paragraph because we got rid of this. So clean up as you go. That way you don't get lost. Okay. So then we're going to look at what we have left. This is our Wednesday wine and dines. Okay. Now, the one thing I want to let them know is I've presented the opportunity to them. They can watch the information on the wine club. For me, I'm not going to do this next because it's not in the line of thinking. But if you want to, you can go ahead and play with that. We already talked about getting access to globes around the world. So now they're talking about the direct to consumer, getting wines directly to you. So we talked about that a little bit. So again, if you want to include that up in the top, you can. I'm going to take it out because we already talked about it briefly. And then here they're talking about wine and the elixir of life. So we can expand on that. I'm going to take this one out too for just a minute. Take that one out. So then the next part that we're going to talk about is you can see that the thought process of the page changed. It went now to talking about wines and dinners and, you know, how wine is the elixir of life, of the gods. This changed a little bit from when I got in, but it's still some good information. It's talking about your food experiences. It's talking about, you know, how you can use wine to celebrate. So there's different steps that you can use wine for. You know, here it is to enhance parties, romance. So all of this information is building up to exactly what your wine can do for you. So you're looking at the benefits or the romance of wine. So that would be a great header to start here. And you can say, or romance and wine. And then you can actually, like I said, because I know what this page is, you can talk about the different aspects of the wine. So we have this paragraph and this paragraph that we can put together. You have this paragraph that talks about the different components of wine. And, you know, just by reading it, so we're going to pull out the romance of it. Here's another one. I think this one also talks about the romance of a fine glass of wine, dinner and romance. So we can pair all of these different romances together to make it more mine. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to pull all those different paragraphs together. Okay. All right. And then we talked about that. This is where you can do a plug for your wines. I know Paul said in several of his training sites, it's key. You don't always have to use the same key phrase. You can actually use multiple key phrases. Rickard Merlot is a great key search. With Google, when anybody searches for Rickard Merlot, your page has the potential of coming up in the search because you've used it in your page. So use those plugs not only for your wines, but for anything else that you could be marketing. So here's a great one for, you know, or Merlot. What's that one I got up here? And then you can come down here, you just segue into your next one, special occasions. So we just got rid of this one. And then we're gonna do another heading, but we're gonna do a smaller heading since it's still under wine and romance. So we're gonna do a heading 3. And I'm gonna do, and then I just throw in a little tidbits of myself. I always try to include my own personal stories. It's more relatable. All right. So here I kind of brought in these in here, different ones. So it kind of stays in context with my wines and special occasions. So now I can get rid of this paragraph. Okay. And we just talked about experiences, find wines from your cellar, direct to your door. We already did the romance part of it. So I'm gonna get rid of this right here. Get rid of this. Okay. Dinners, we already talked about dinners. I've read a lot of students' pages for Google AdSense. They always want me to read. And this one little sign right here, it's still in the same place. So that's why I always tell people, read your content. Just about every one of them still had this title, this topic with the same information in the same place. They just modified it. So you want to make sure you move things around, change them up, read your whole content, see how you want it to flow. It makes things a lot easier when you can put it in your own words, in your own writing. That's the whole purpose of this. We already talked about graduations. So job promotion, so we're going to take that out. Okay. And so now we're talking, going back up here. And we can leave this in here, wines of your cellar. So we got the romance side out. So now you're talking about wines, your cellar wines. What's the different thing? You know, everybody wants to have their fine wines. They want to make sure, you know, that it's accessible. So we're telling them, hey, we got wines worthy of your cellar. So, but we don't want to leave that same topic there. So we can change this. Same thing, just different way of saying it. And we're going to talk about building up their wine cellar. That's what this is talking about, so that you have access to those fine wines no matter what occasion comes to your door. That they have it right there available. It's to their door. They don't even have to go and fill up their bucket list. So that's one of the things that's on people's bucket list, is to go to the Napa Valley. So here we're going to talk about how they can build up their fine cellar, clear up their bucket list all in one thing. They can get fine Napa Valley wines delivered to their door from our amazing wine company. So again, I'm going to create another paragraph block, and that is exactly what we're going to say. We're talking about our wine cellar. Okay, so there again, we summarized all of this, fine wines that complement any cellar. We talked about them building up their wine cellar, their secrets of how they become more knowledgeable. We've talked about how they can always have it at their disposal, build up their own. This is the one that we all got all this information to. Talked about, you know, their parties, their get together, everything, all from their amazing wine club. So again, we can get rid of this and get rid of this. I'm running out of time. I'm almost done. So again, here is your call to action. I have a call to action here. So if you want to leave your call to action, you can. And you need to change it. So we can leave this one here. The one thing that I do suggest, and it's become a little stickler, is these right here. It's for the memes. So those of you that are in the memes program, this is a great place for you to go and change your memes out. Don't leave the ones that are there. You do still need to make a page for them. I've taken them out of my programs. It's totally up to you if you want to do that. If you are in the memes programs, by all means, if you can use those in your sayings, you can use them in either one of these pages. But again, it's up to you. If you want to leave them out, you can. If you want to leave them in, you can. Just make sure you modify the content. Every word needs to change, not just a paragraph here, a phrase here. You need to change the whole content so that it's relatable. It goes exactly the way you want it to be, that when people come to it that know you, they see your personality in your page. It's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight. It takes time. And so, you know, it's going to take time to build. Again, I'm going to go ahead and change this so we can say this page is done. And I'm going to and he actually had that as a heading 1. I'm just going to leave it as a heading 2. And you want to put some urgency to it to let them know, hey, it's time for you to get started. All right, so, and then you want to center it. I always want to center anything that I want it to stand out. And then you're going to link it. And then I'm going to take this one out. This block out, remove that. And again, we're going to leave that there for right now. So I'm running out of time. So now that's about it. I guess we can pick up next week where we left off here and show you how to go in and put your links. So that's all I have for today.
That's fabulous. Thank you so very much, Sheila.
I hope I didn't go too fast.